Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Blackish University, Griots in a Modern World. I wanted to take some time and go over a piece of work from Childish Gambino. I'm a bit older. I'm 39 years old, and I like to, I love hip hop. I love rap, but I never really explored a lot of his work. Everybody knows, was it Redbone, Daylight, and This Is America, but I decided to review and really look into one of some of his more recent work, and I was going over the song 3005, and man, it's crazy how much depth and meaning and just the vision that he must have. Very talented dude, and I decided to do a reaction video, especially since I'm a new fan. There's somebody who's not as familiar with his work. Now, 3005 was a very detailed piece of work, and there's a bunch of hidden meanings and life lessons throughout the song. Above all, I think the main theme of this seems to be existential loneliness. Now, existential loneliness is the result of a broader separation related to the nature of existence, and in particular, it's what most would consider a lack of meaning in life. But in interviews after the project was released, Childish Gambino mentioned the song being very misunderstood. He mentions that he's really scared of actually being alone. And he says most people think 3005 is a love song. It's not a love song. They go on to say, our society says the best way to combat loneliness is marriage, right? You commit to one person for the rest of your life. You go through this journey, you go through life together, and he plays on this idea throughout the song. The hook mentions love and what might be wedding bells you can hear going on in the background. Now, there's a few obvious Easter eggs, as they call them, as we continue listening and we continue to decipher the lyrics. But in his lyrics, there's a variety of different references I wanted to call out. There's a 90s reference where he mentions Boy Meets World. And he mentions Danielle Fishel, who famously played Topanga. He says, man, I used to get so pissed when girls would watch Boy Meets World and be like, Ryder Strong, so dope for having a black girlfriend. Man, fuck that dude. So in his visual work surrounding the album, he calls the album, I believe it's, the visual work, it's called Clapping for the Wrong Reasons. Topanga is actually, the girl who plays Topanga is actually one of the actors, and she's having a conversation that revolves around a wedding and the thought of being with one person forever. Again, loneliness. Topanga, her real name, Fishel, Danielle Fishel, I believe. But she believes everyone is ready for the wedding except her. She's 3 to 4 weeks pregnant. As we mentioned before, society just tells you, put your wedding dress on, go with the flow, everything will be okay. The answer to combat loneliness is finding a partner, right? That's what they tell you. One thing, as we keep peeling back layers with the song, there's what you would call a continuous music cycle. The actual beat is created in a way, I believe the technical term is palindrome. It's the same repeated backwards or forwards. The same can be with like a word or a phrase. So you think of, a word like madame, right? Or like nurses run. It's the same as run nurses, or wow, or mom, or dad. Those are all words that are the same backwards or forwards. He actually created the beat that way in the song. Super cool to think that much thought went into it. And we understand that loops and cycles are important to his work. In the visual work, when he goes over the track Sweatpants, it's constantly in a loop. And 3005 is not really much different. Now, the focal point of the visual work is the Ferris Wheel. something that most people would consider, part of childhood love, right? Or part of like the Notebook or so, right? You think of this like fairy tale love story. So there's a lot of ways that you can break down the imagery, but it looks like the Ferris wheel is doing 3 cycles. If you actually focus in on what's happening throughout these cycles, you have to say, is he trying to say we're all constantly moving, but we're not really going anywhere? Are we another cog in the wheel, right? We can tell he's acting as what he calls the boy when he has that hat on, the floppy ears. And we already know that he's stuck in a certain place where he can't grow up. He's stuck on the wheel of life, but he's not making any real progress. And he desperately needs to grow up from, in the video they show him partying and messing around with other girls. So what does the bear on the Ferris wheel represent? Is it his youth that's always with him? His childish ways? Or, I think it's better to think of the bear as just like a metaphor. It's signaling, it's showing it's a partner or someone that's on the ride with him. Or like we said, that ride or die to the end of time. It's showing his partner. But as you look closely, you'll notice that with each cycle, the bear begins to deteriorate over time. So with each rotation, you can also see that the people are on the Ferris wheel also getting older. So it's very weird. You're seeing like the cycles of life. So it's something where everyone looks happy and everything's normal at first, but with every rotation, you see that at first it's a young couple sitting there, and then you see the cycle, and then they seem to be kind of middle-aged, older adults, maybe 40-ish or so, and then the next time around they're not there at all. And we also notice that the scenes change. Right? When he first gets on the scenes, it's a happy carnival. You're looking around, you can just tell where he is. He's got this teddy bear. But as it goes around, you can see images of fire burning in the background. Is he saying that the world is burning around us that we don't even notice because everything looks good on our own Ferris wheel, on our own compartment? Or is this something very similar as to what he did with This Is America? We're so focused on the dancing and that we miss everything that's happening in the background. The bear, as I mentioned, the bear is noticeably aging. It's on life's ride, and eventually it's actually there by itself. So, Childish Gambino, he makes a few references to aging with a spouse. He says the only reciprocal love is love of self. And then he started saying something like, we all die alone, despite love and marriage. Again, he just keeps referring back to this idea of existential loneliness. So I read online that the hat boy, the hat that he wears, is actually a reference to Catcher in the Rye. I don't know if a lot of you youngsters read the book. We had to read it when we were in grammar school, but the character comes to a conclusion that everyone's fake and people clap for the wrong reasons, which is exactly what he means in visual work. So I'm sure if we watch the video multiple times, we can extract other symbolic meanings, but I think the Ferris wheel in itself might have multiple meanings of interconnectivity. But some of this work just remains to be deciphered. Maybe if I heard some of his other projects or knew where he was getting some of the information, I could put it together better. But I thought this was an excellent point to go over the song and really appreciate the depth and the vision behind this work.